A couple of years back, I did my first ever acrylic and resin pours. It was super satisfying. Since then, I've seen some really cool techniques and ways people have done pouring. So I thought it was time to pour again, but get a little more experimental, but figure it out a bit more. Oh, starting. Let's pour. Ready? Whee! Come on, flow. All right, got a base down. Step 2. Whoa! I'm breaking rules now. All right, let's go. I'm gonna do a little zigzag. So I'm gonna do a little one first. This is really not very poury. This is terrible. This is awful. Help! So I'm thinking if we like spread these, right? Let's try and get like a motion, right? We're getting a motion in this direction. Let's give another piece a crack. I'm gonna work from the same foundation, but trying to apply what I learned. More flow medium. All right, let's start. Purple base. This time we're gonna whirl. We're gonna go circular. The funny thing is, while there's cool like results you can get from this, actually I've found over time, every time I've come to any sort of pouring, the most useful thing for me from exercises like this is learning how stuff works. So next time I do a resin pour or even use acrylics to do anything that uses a larger volume of paint, like the pendulum painting video, doing stuff like this may not produce incredible pieces, but actually the familiarity I find I develop by just doing it and can use in different ways is really useful. That's pretty cool. I feel like that's already better than the last piece. Let's do another one. That second piece was already so much better to me than the first piece, and that's what art's about, isn't it? Just keep going, and the next one you do will be better than the last one you did, even if you don't feel amazing now. Just a reminder to everyone that the Pro Sketch Pack is available, but only for a few more weeks. That's $200 worth of incredible art materials, curated and designed by me with Spectrum Noir, all for the low price of $99. You can even split that down further with split payments in the checkout. From the custom and gorgeous sketchbooks to the durable and plush carrying case, all the way to the hugely versatile art supplies, everything you need to sink your teeth into it, and a sketch guide. So if you feel a little bit lost, you can go on a journey with me and I'll show you how to do the stuff that I'm most comfortable with. Links in the description, available for a limited time to go to prosketchpack.com, and it's a huge support to the channel. Let's keep dabbling. I'm gonna mix in some red, some of our black from before. We're gonna use our multi-pourer for the first time because I've got 4 colors. I'm gonna start off by laying a foundation, just a simple gradient, right? Our maroon, a red, a orange, too much orange, and a yellow. Spread that around to cover our base. Oh my God, did I accidentally discover a really cool technique? You just gotta slap it with your little finger like that. How cool is that? This is cool. Oh, no. Maybe I've got to get it moving. Okay. Whoa. What? That's pretty cool. Encourage it this way, then down, then up, then down, and make it all look kind of crappy. I don't know if I'm doing good things or dumb things. I could have stopped at any point. I could stop at this point. It's constantly evolving. I'll give it that much. Fire! Ha! Ha ha ha! Oh, that is pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. I think pretty cool is as far as I can get on my own. Let's look at what other people do on TikTok. All right, this is Kirsten Run laying down a base layer, which I've been doing, so that's good. They've sort of got layers of paint in the single cups, and then they ploop them down. That looks very cool. I think the state of the paint when you do the initial pour is kind of crucial. Oh, this is what you were talking about, Tom. There's a pin in it, vacuum sealed, and then they remove the pin and then it starts releasing, but only with the air pressure from inside. This is Brittany Page's paints. What is that? What? They've pulled the black off. That's so sploopy. Whoa! Everything that's been tilted off the canvas, it will be reused. Really? Now I have enough paint from my pours to make another pour. Here's our tray. Hopefully this will catch the next, but we're gonna level up. We're gonna go bigger because we're overconfident. That's how we roll. Ready? This is our mishmashy pour of what we've got. Wouldn't it be funny if this is like the best one? Oh my God, that's sort of cool. We can use this to play with some techniques. It was suggested straws. What is this magic? Like it. Like that. It's fun. Maybe a little bit of blow dryer action. Whoa, too much action. But it does actually soften it all in a pretty cool way. This gets like a nice blend that looks like way more artistic. In fact, this doesn't have to be a wasted pour. Bit of soap. Whoa! Except I forgot to block the end. Too much. But that's all right. I've still got, like, this is my leftover pour, but I'm making more leftovers as I pour. So we could just keep that cycle continuing and just, you know, scoop it up a bit. There you go. I fixed it.
I kind of like that.
I'm gonna try and normalize it again. Just gonna try and bring it back to something. Let's get some drama streaks in. Let's use our methods that we're learning. Bit of blending. Whoa, too much blending. All right, I'm gonna try and be a little daring, but I'm also gonna try and be a little more controlled. So let's go slower. I've been rushing this whole thing. Let's go. Whoa, that's actually, I mean, mate. Let's do another one, see if this keeps working. So you're telling me slowing down and taking my time applying new art techniques works better? You learn something new every day. Now check this out. Really liking actually where this is going. Don't want to ruin it. I'm going to do one last thing and I'm going to be gentle. Ready? I'm just going to tip it in the direction that these are moving. And then I'm going to tip it back. So tempting to overdo it, but I'm going to stop. All right? Just walk away. And we're done. And we're done. Just put it down. Just put it down. I've actually taken, I think, a fairly significant lesson from this. I've got to pick one or two things that are my method. I've got to apply them more methodically, a bit slower, a bit more carefully, and then gently work my way to cool results. But let's give it a go. I'm going to do 3 art pieces, trying 2 different things with each, taking my time to apply them. Now we're going bigger and we're trying to make it satisfying. So the 2 methods that I chose to sort of lean into were working with paint viscosity and pairing that with the cup flips. I start off with a thicker base. The thicker paints aren't going to move as freely. And if I have a white base, it just needs to serve as a foundation. Then I mix 3 colors, orange being the thickest, green somewhere in the middle, and yellow the runniest. Now when prepping my cups to flip, I put some pins in there just to help release the air pressure when I pull them up. Otherwise, I think you'll get this vacuum release of a thump. Now the first 2 cups I prepped the same and in what I thought would be the most logical way, having the heaviest paint poured in first, because pouring the medium and then thinner paints on top of that likely wouldn't mix as deeply. But for the third one, I reversed it. The thinner yellow at the bottom, all the way up to the thicker orange in the top. And as you can see with all of these, I've poured around the edges, so I'm not immediately pouring into the middle where it would just, I assume, fall deeply down towards the bottom of the cup. By pouring on the edges first, my hope was that it would rest and I'd be able to create even-ish layers. Releasing the cups didn't seem to have a huge difference between those 2 methods of layering. I think the biggest impact is really how much you have in there and the way that they're laid inside the cup so that they spread in interesting ways. A bit of the soap that I'd mixed in previous dabbles must have remained in the yellow, which is great because I ended up with a little bit of a natural speckling texture. I ended up with a really cool mix, a kind of marble of psychedelic colors. Last but not least, I wouldn't count this as a separate method I was trying, but I wanted to just add a little bit of detail or texture on top by flicking a few other colors in contrasting areas. Now, some of those ended up looking a little splatty, but that's where the straw came in, just to smooth things out and keep the general flow in the same direction, especially where some of the splats were going against the grain. For this one, I wanted to play with something oceanic. I mixed a base darkish brown-red color, which I thought would be a base for some sand, and took my time mixing a good sand color to go on top, and then moved on to the ocean liquids. A thicker, darker blue to act as a base for the water to go on top, and then thinning out some lighter colors, blue, turquoise, and a white with various amounts of dish soap so that hopefully we can get that spreading effect. So with the sand down, I feel like I could have gone a little thinner so it would spread a bit easier, but you know what? With a bit of encouragement from the blow dryer, I ended up with something I was reasonably happy with, and a foundation with the dark blue laid down that I could put water on top of. This is where I'm getting a little bit cheeky and mixing a bit of a method that I had built a whole video around a couple of weeks ago, pouring with a dustpan. So I poured my blue, turquoise, and white in stripes in the dustpan, and with the watery liquid running fast, I spread it across my coastline and eventually give a push around with some air to get a really organic looking water effect. The bubbling and spreading with the soap did less than I hoped, so I obviously haven't quite figured that one out yet, but there's enough that I feel like it gets a cool effect. And with a few extra layers, I actually ended up with something I'm really proud of. For my third and final piece, I just wanted to do something a little more designed and a little different than leaning on the medium of the flow spreading wildly across the piece. I wanted to see if I could be a little more controlled and a little more interesting. So as you can see, I started by creating this foundational layer of the black with some drips heading down that rather than continuing to spread, I actually used a heat gun to dry out softly, just so that future pours and spreads wouldn't really move it that much. With that as a foundational layer laid down, I mixed up the same pop colors, the blue, yellow, orange, and pink, to a reasonably thick viscosity, ready to do some layered pouring. But when they were mixed, I threw in a container of glitter on each, reserving a little sprinkle to add on the end. So I guess that was one of the things I wanted to muck around with this one. A little bit of more intentional texture, and in a different way, bit of sparkle. One layer at a time, I spread a fairly thick horizontal layer of a very blobby looking paint pour, kind of manually creating some places where it looks like some dripping or melting or spreading is happening. And one layer at a time, creating the effect of this sort of layered mix of almost like icing. With those down and a little bit of sprinkle on top, it was looking pretty cool, but really lacked something, a little pop. Those four colors were sort of melding into each other a little bit, and I was sort of lacking a bit of visual interest. So I went back to the black, thinned it down quite a bit, and created a bead of line going through, dividing each of them, which I thought worked quite well to create a bold separation and a little bit of a cartoony vibe. I mixed up and thinned down a little bit of white and popped in some highlights, creating what felt like a Simpsons donut sort of effect of a pour, which, you know what, I was going for something different, and I think I achieved that. You know, I think there's something to it, and I still learnt from it, and I'm glad I gave it a go. Yes, we started pretty wild and free, but we found our way through to some techniques and artworks that I think look pretty cool. I'm so happy with the results. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button if you did. That's how other people are gonna see and enjoy this sort of content, and how I know you want me to make more. Big table, resin pour, yeah? Ocean, coastal, something cool, fiery. Like, do it, and I'll see you in the next video.